E aí, galera, de boa? Ciner aqui. Cara, eu queria dar alguns pequenos recados e falar um pouco pra vocês desse vídeo antes de vocês começarem a assistir, certo? A primeira coisa que eu fiquei muito feliz em conseguir fazer esse vídeo, tá? Em ir atrás do contato do cara, conseguir arrumar um tempo, porque em questão de fuso horário, eu também tenho minhas obrigações, o cara também, então foi uma coisa que foi trabalhosa, né? Além disso, eu queria falar que eu fiquei muito feliz, particularmente, independente do resultado do vídeo ou de como ele repercuta por aí. Eu fiquei muito feliz em ter conseguido fazer o vídeo com o cara, né? O meu conhecimento de inglês são as coisas que eu fazia na vida de videogame, eu sempre joguei desde pequeno. Então Super NES, PS, a vida inteira eu gostei principalmente de RPG. Então isso fez com que eu lesse muitas coisas e fosse aprendendo aos poucos. Eu nunca fiz curso, né? Mas a vivência das coisas, de música, filme, jogo, enfim, me proporcionaram esse conhecimento. Então, pra mim, foi uma conquista muito grande fazer esse vídeo com o cara, trocar uma ideia. Vocês vão encontrar muitos erros, tá ligado? Quem manja mais de inglês aí vai encontrar muito erro, pode até achar algumas coisas engraçadas, mas eu fiquei feliz. Né? Eu fiquei feliz de conseguir fazer o vídeo com o cara. Eu espero que o resultado desse vídeo seja muito bom. Né? Eu nunca tinha legendado um vídeo também, então eu fui correr atrás de ver como é que fazia essas coisas, de buscar um programa para legendar. Eu nunca tinha feito isso também e deu certo. Aparentemente deu certo, né? Deu trabalho pra caramba legendar isso aí, eu não fazia ideia. Se você, algum de vocês que estão assistindo aí, legenda vídeo, mano, parabéns, porque é um trampo sinistro. Eu demorei, tipo, sei lá, 4 horas para legendar 20 minutos de vídeo, mais ou menos. Mas o resultado é esse, galera. Eu espero que vocês gostem. Por ter dado muito trabalho, eu gostaria muito que vocês dessem o like nesse vídeo, que vocês compartilhassem com a galera que não conhece o canal, mas que conhece também. Mas passar esse vídeo para o maior número de pessoas que vocês conseguissem, porque ele deu muito trabalho, eu fico muito feliz e eu espero que vocês gostem, beleza? Então é isso aí, curtam o vídeo, se inscrevam no canal e até a próxima, cara. Valeu, obrigado. Galera, olha quem que tá aqui em cima. Participação especial, né? Special fucking guest, Childish Play, para fazer esse vídeo aqui com a gente. Uh, Man, so happy that you accept the invite to so we can make this video. So if I think that's not possible, but if someone doesn't know your channel, so I'll leave the link in the description, but you can introduce yourself.
Sounds good. So again, thank you for the warm welcome. My name is Childish. I'm with the Childish Plays YouTube channel. Been a Summoners War YouTuber since October of 2014, and have been working extremely hard as to not really so much specifically try to grow my channel, but just try to grow the community. I really am a big fan of the Summoners War game, and I really want to do everything in my power to do that, to assist that and grow it. So once Center, reached out to me to make this collab video, I could not say no to this because, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of working with different people just to, get some information out there for you, as I truly feel that we have one of the best communities out there. Shout out to the Brazilian community out there one time for everything that you do. You guys are so supportive of the community like you don't even know. So, but thank you. No, I appreciate you allowing me to be on your channel.
That's nice, man. Your video is always great. So we're here to talk about the most strong monsters NAT 5's in the game, right? So
Hmm.
here's what's gonna happen. I'll pick a monster and I'll start to talk about him, and Childish is gonna add any comment that he wants. Then it's gonna be her turn to pick a monster and he's gonna talk about him, and I'll just comment anything. I'm gonna start with the monsters that everyone knows that I love and is one of my strongest net 5's, né? Let's talk about Camilla, right? Man, I love Camilla. She's really OP. Everyone knows that. I really like her. And the thing about Camilla that I think is the most strong thing is her passive, because it's insane, man. It's three passives fused in one passive. Because first, when you get a critical hit, the damage is reduced by half. Alright, one passive. Second passive, you will recover 10% of its maximum HP each turn. All right. In the third passive, every time she's get a crit, uh, she will clean any debuff that she have.
Mhm.
And man, I just said three passive, and no, it's just one. And that's the passive of Camilla, the Water Valkyrie. And for me, that's what makes her so strong. Né? Even though her leader skill is also really good, right? 33% critical rate on arena. That's really nice.
Mhm.
So, Childish, what do you think about Camilla, man?
I'll tell you what, I'm a big fan of Camila, but for the community out there, one thing I did want to kind of add to it is that with regards to this list that we're going to be talking about, there's a lot of natural five stars out there, but what makes the Nat 5 unique in my eyes, like Center was saying, is that ability to kind of have that 3-in-1, 4-in-1 combo. We're going to be talking about a lot of natural five stars today, but you're going to see the top one shine because of all the different mechanics that they have in their kit, being able to critically reduce, like you were saying, being able to provide that heal. I mean, he just makes them a powerhouse. The critical damage reduction when all of us build our monsters in that high critical rate, critical damage aspect is extremely strong. The fact that if it gets critically hit, it cleanses its harmful effects. I mean, just overall, you can't go wrong with this particular unit. You can build it in a multitude of ways. A lot of people have been a big fan of that kind of hybrid format, running that violent destroy like attack or damage HP. So overall, while there's many ways to build it, I think its passive allows you to do a decent amount of damage and keep them, relatively tanky without too much worry. What about you?
Man, that's the thing. You can build her at there's infinity waves, so you can build her. Mine right now is on HP crit damage attack, and she once was attack crit damage attack, and I also see speed crit damage attack and speed crit damage HP. So I think she's great on basically any rune that you put on her because her stats is also really good and
Yep.
her kit is really nice. So wherever you put her, if you have really good runes, she will work just fine. You don't need to worry. Camilla is that unit that you bring to any guild war basically, and you rely on her. I mean,
Hmm.
you can bring Camilla and whatever two units because you're really confident about her power.
Yeah. And
I
that's
really
and that's the
like her.
thing about Camilla there too. That's the thing about Camilla. Camilla is one of the few units out there when things go bad, she could potentially solo her way to victory. That's
Exactly.
crazy.
How many people we see on video that goes to arena or guild wars and kill the other units and leave just Camila and her she solo your whole team. You know, she's just that powerful. She can
Mhm.
solo one team entirely, just her alone. So we can talk about another monster that you want, Childish. Feel free to
Okay.
pick any monster you want.
All right. I'm gonna mix it up here with the next element. I'm gonna talk about fire. This is my last natural five star that
All right.
I pulled. I pulled it about 4 months ago, and that's gonna be Veligil, right? Veligil for me is just an absolute game changer when it comes to not only Guild Wars but RTA. Similar to Camilla, it has that kind of 3-in-1 combo where we're providing a way of removing buffs on the first skill. We're providing a way of cleansing all harmful effects and then providing immunity. And then if that wasn't enough, getting that attack bar increase on the third skill, Sanctuary there. And the cool thing about it is that Sanctuary is 6-turn cooldown. However, when it is maxed out, it goes to a 4-turn
Four
cooldown. So
turns.
literally, with a 3-turn immunity, cleanse, and attack bar increase, after it's been cleared out, you wait 1 turn and then you can cast it up again. So the uptime is relatively good. And like I said, overall cleansing a skill, especially on a unit that they're bringing to the mix that are really game changing units that have a 5-turn cooldown, 6-turn cooldown, 7-turn cooldown. That is a big loss for them. Trying to do some kind of harmful effect or some kind of big attack, and then have that particular unit cleanse it out. So I really like this unit for not just the Guild Wars side. And obviously arena and Guild Wars side, but more importantly for me, I love it for RTA. I'm a big fan of RTA. What's your take on it?
Man, he's really, like you said about the third skill, 4 turns, and most of the people, I mean, I see lots of people running him on Swift, but most of the people that I see runs him on Violent. So use the third skill, and you're Violent again, and you already have the skill, basically. And Valaduo is one of those monsters that I think, I know that's bullshit, but sometimes I think that one monster gets more chance to proc Violent than other monsters. I mean, Perna, Camila, Valaduo, these monsters, they're just insane with Violent runs. And the thing about Valaduo is, since he removes buff on the first skill, he's great to counter lots of monsters today, especially in Guild Wars. I mean, Theo with the Endure is useful. Cayman, the Fire Anubis, is in the meta right now. Everyone is using him, and you can cleanse the shield, and that's really nice because that Shield of Command is annoying as hell, right? And I think that's it. And he's really tanky as well. He has a nice base defense. The HP not that really insane, but I really think Valaduo is one of the most strongest monsters, man. Definitely.
Yeah, I love it. And one thing that we forget to mention is it's one of the few, I believe, the only Archangel out there, if not out of two, I believe it's the only one out there that can actually awaken into critical rate. So if you do play around with it in a damage kind of way, that is cool. But when we're thinking about Valaduo in and of itself and being just one of the top tier support monsters, I'm a big advocate of making it going for the more speedy support kind of side versus the damage side. My particular Valaduo is actually ruled a little bit weird. I run speed, HP, but I run violent card, and I have crazy defense substats. But if I had the chance, I would probably be doing speed, defense, HP, or speed, defense with crazy like HP substats or something of the sort. There, so he can have enough HP to outlast the Lucian if someone wants to go gamble a little bit on that fire unit. But also have enough defense to stay relatively tanky because, as you know, having that immunity allows him not to get defense broken, and that's gonna work really good when it comes to that effective HP, not being able to break that defense there. That's pretty much all I got for Valaduo. When it comes to another great monster here, I guess let's go ahead and move over to probably everyone's favorite, like Zyros or something like that.
No doubt, everyone's favorite, man. Everyone wants a Zyros.
Everyone wants a Zyros, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have one now?
No. If you guys have been paying attention to some of the YouTubers on the stateside, it appears that a lot of them got Zyros around that Christmas time, but I was not one of the fortunate ones. Come to us if you're watching.
So, what do you think about him?
Yeah, no, I mean, I love him. I mean, who doesn't like him? Again, talking about the multi-kit ability, having that leader skill, 33% universal is obviously OP. 2 AoE, so you can play around with the despair set if you so choose. But ultimately, that third skill is going to be the number one, foundation of this unit here. Being able to reset all the units to max cooldown, and it is an AoE. There's literally, I don't think there's anything that comes near close. They got a couple of different units out there that kind of can make an argument that it's like I got a little bit of Zyros here and there, but ultimately the Zyros is a one-of-a-kind unit. And like I said, if you get that first turn, if you get yourself in a situation where they're not running any kind of immunity, or you're able to cleanse it, remove it, being able to reset all 4 units with the cooldown is extremely strong, especially for particular NAT 5's that we're going to be talking about today that have passives that solely rely on on them, like their ability to stay alive.
Exactly.
So,
and the dots on the second skill, it's really OP. We can let this through. So is 3 dots, right? Or
I thought it could go up to 4. I thought it can go up to 4. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
I generally see 3, but I believe it goes up to 4.
Right. That's insane, man. I think Zeros is that monsters that you may not have a Tiana, but even though if you have any stripper, he will be really OP. I mean, if you have a Galeon, you're basically done with Arena. Because you strip them, you Galeon and you 30 skill zeros, né? Fire breath. And if anyone survives, what I think is really difficult, if anyone survives, they got all their skills on cooldown. And
Exactly.
for them to change the game, man, that's just not gonna happen. And Zeros is one of those monsters that I think the runes that you run, that you use on him, um, it does really matter, but I think not that much because I already saw Zeros with Rage, with Fatal, with Swift, with Despair, even with Violent. And he's really good with any set. What do you think is the better set runes for Zeros?
Oh,
That's
gosh.
a
Like I said,
hard
you
question,
can.
right?
Yeah, it is a tough question because you can go so many different ways. Um, let's put it this way. I really do like a violent set, but considering how strong a stir skill is, I really don't think it's that important. I've seen an argument for the despair set with two AoEs or even a swift set to make sure that you can get yourself the appropriate amount of speed to be tuned in with your AO or Guild War O, whatever the case may be. So ultimately, I think it all depends on how you decide to use it, where you're trying to incorporate it in, and then on the defensive side, while it doesn't make too much sense to go on the arena defense or whatever, I have seen a couple people play around with it on the Guild War defensive side, and the top ranks have been successful. But if they go that route, they have to definitely have the runes to make it relatively tanky, just to take advantage of its mechanic on the third skill and not basically die on the first turn. So. That being said, it is more of that kind of YOLO monster or whatnot. People like to play around with that aspect. So I prefer like an attack or damage attack with like a swift, despair, or violent set.
Yeah. With
And,
lots
and
of
and again,
speed on
yeah,
substats, right?
yeah, very highly dependent on how you're working it into your team. If it needs speed, if it doesn't, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we're good with Zeros. Now I want to talk about one Net 5 that I also have, and I think is, I mean, I would put her on top three most powerful Net 5s, no doubt. Let's talk about Tiana, man. I think Tiana is really insane, really insane. Because I used to talk like that. I mean, imagine that Tiana does not exist on the game yet, all right? We don't have Tiana. So someone come to you and say, man, there's gonna be a new net 5, and all right, what you can do, man? And you say that she strips everyone, yeah, and he fills up your attack bar with 30%. All right, that's really nice. And I say to you that the effect can't be resisted. Man, if Tiana comes to the game today, I think no one's gonna sack her because that's really insane, man. I think this
Mhm.
skill, the fact that it cannot be resisted, makes her the best strip on the game, in my opinion, of course.
Mhm.
Because you don't, man, you need zero accuracy. You don't need to worry about accuracy. So basically, what you worry when you run in Tiana, it's the speed, and the rest is up to you. If you wanna make her tank, if you wanna make her a damage dealer, sort of, you know. But you really just need to think about the speed because you need zero accuracy and the effect cannot be resisted. What do you think about her?
Tiana overall, I mean, we can't go wrong. If you guys are new to the game, like Cinder was saying, back in the day, like, there was no, way back in the day, there was no Tiana, but more importantly, Galleon was just kind of, was not really has brought in there. So ultimately, for the people to, the arena meta, the PvP meta was way different. So obviously, Lucians have been in the game for quite some time, and rightfully so. Being able to ignore that defense, you don't have to rely on that defense break. So now with the Tiana plus the Galleon combo, it opens up a wide variety of units that you can utilize. So I'm a big fan. Like even though a lot of people were kind of, I think, hesitant at first when this unit came out, because it was like, okay, this unit came out, and I don't think Galleon was introduced just yet. So they were like, what is the point of this one? And then of course they introduced Galleon, and then they're like, wow, like this this now opens up so many options. So I'm a big fan of what ComTwist did. They really wanted to see some different teams brought out to the meta, and I think they did a good job with that unit. Obviously, it's a very strong monster. That skill is strong, but either way, if you are running a Galleon Tiana combo, you can play around with what you decide to do, depending on where you're at in the arena, with regards to resistance. Even though you cannot resist Tiana's skill, right, the third skill, you can still resist Galleon's buff. And Galleon's buff, the defense of not having a defense break on certain units, is very strong. If you get an opportunity to resist that, that's going to really reduce the amount of DPS that they can do towards you and still effectively cause you to get the win, if you're fortunate enough. So
That's correct. So basically, you think that Lucian still more reliably than a combo with Tiana?
I think that the Lucian, Bernard Megan double Lucian combo is never going to go anywhere. But because of the fact that they introduced Galleon after Tiana, now that Galleon Tiana combo just really opens up a lot of different units out there that can do a decent amount of damage, with that attack buff and defense down, in the second, an all-in-one skill when it comes to Galleon. So it makes it really nice to make a double AoE combo. But again, we're still heavily relying on the ability to land that time to loot defense break on the units after Tiana's skill's been cast. So there is a chance that things may not go exactly as planned.
That's correct. And about Lucian, man, I also talk about him because I don't have Lucian yet. And I think he's meant to be a NAT 5 because ignore defense, AoE with no, you don't need nothing special to ignore defense. I mean, like Copper or like Bulldozer, that you suffer something paying that ignore defense, And Lucian, you just need to click the skill and, all right, ignore defense, AoE, a natural full monster that is kind of easily obtainable. And man, he's just too OP for me. I don't think Lucian should be that OP. I think maybe to change the meta a little bit. You may not agree with that, but I think Lucian should have a chance to ignore defense, maybe like the Kung Fu Girl, because we see a lot people doing video getting Legend and getting Guardian 3 with double Lucian. Double Lucian can take you anywhere. I mean, an arena in Guild War, basically.
I think I kind of go back and forth with that. Like I agree with some and I disagree with some. I think the natural 5 stars, at the end of the day, you're gonna, regardless of what units you have, you're gonna need the runes to back up those units. But the fact that Lucian is Nat 4 versus a Nat 5, while I consider it like a Nat 6, it's one of those units that like it gives people an opportunity to obtain a relatively easier unit that you can pull, right? And so even though it may not be something, I mean, obviously Lucian is strong, but it cannot counter everything. It still gives people an option to be competitive if they have the runes, and we've shown that quite a few times on the global side with a variety of different people that have used double Lucian to get into the Guardian ranks, and even so much more. Even not even talking about Lucians, right? Let's just talk about rune quality and just overall like speed and whatnot. With certain compositions and whatnot. If you're familiar, I don't know if you're familiar with Sensa. Sensa has been a top-notch arena player for quite some time. Not utilizing too many different Nat 5s. He mostly stuck with Nat 4s and just focused on the speed mechanic of it all and making sure that he gets that turn advantage over his opponents to get the job done. So there's many ways to get it done. While we talk about Nat 5s today, ultimately certain units are going to make things a lot easier. But if you don't have the runes to back it up, nothing's going to be able to work for you.
Yeah, that's right. Any monster you need that rune quality, right? So let's talk about another monster. I talked about Tiana. Who you want to talk about?
Let's go with. I think we got to move on to another one in the win category here, since we're looking at the wins. Right. This is a unit that I have. Let's go ahead and talk about Ciara. Ciara for me. If there was ever a unit that's like considered like one of the #1 like broken units out there,
Yeah,
Now with the recent, change with regards to the getting the additional turn
third
on the second skill after the bomb,
ah
yeah, it's
second, right,
it's
right.
it's pretty darn OP. I like it. Obviously, like I said, with regards to the kit, the bomb having the ability to bomb all of the have all the bombs go off with that third skill, promised time, having the leader skill, having even like people don't even think about it, but having that first skill when you critically hit, getting that attack bar increase.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, all of these things, play in a role. I mean, the bomb damage is going to be ignoring the element. It's just going to be able to, do damage regardless of what element you're going for. You don't have to be concerned about, bombing a fire unit and doing less damage just as long as you land that bomb. But yeah, I just couldn't. I mean, I can't believe how strong it is. It's used in everything. It's used in arena, guild wars, RTA. Like you can even play around with it in Necro B10 if you're lucky enough, because of the multi hits. There's so many options for that. Yeah,
exactly.
it's extremely strong. This is not a unit that really requires a violence set, but considering how its mechanics work, I mean, it's crazy not to play around with the violence set. I personally, I can't. I really wouldn't say you have to build it in such a way for like the 2, 4, 6 slot. I think it really depends on the composition that you bring and how you decide to speed tune it. While some people may argue that you need to have speed on 2 to make sure that you're fast enough, speed is a definite key for this unit. But like I said, depending on how you set up your team and what kind of speed subsets you can rock, may allow you to go with an attack rune with like speed subsets on it just to provide a little bit more damage. On the flip side, we can argue the fact of not really so much thinking about the concept of damage, but more so the concept of the stun mechanic to the bomb. So even if you get that first turn, and let's say you don't have enough attack, maybe you don't have an attack buff or don't have enough attack stats to one-shot it, keep in mind that the bomb has an opportunity to stun when it blows up. It can actually get resisted. It's highly unlikely, but it can. However, having that opportunity to stun really sets your opponent back and allows your other units within your team to kind of clean up the mess and do work. What do you think about that?
This stun on the bomb is something that I think is really OP. I don't know why they do that. Really, I actually don't know, because bomb is something that, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can't glance bomb, right? Because the element doesn't matter. Am I right? So
right, correct.
all right, so you don't care about the element. I mean, you can get Ciara and bomb a Tessarian and bomb Valajuo. You don't care about the element. So besides to that, there is a fact that the bomb ignores defense. That's really insane. You can get a monsters based on defense. He got 2k defense, 2.5k defense, and it just doesn't matter because she just ignores defense. And plus that, the bomb can stun. I think if the Summoners War just decides to starting today, the bomb's not gonna stun anymore. I think that's even fair, because I think the fact that bombs can stun, it's really insane.
Right, right, and let's not forget the fact of accuracy versus resistance coming into play here.
Yeah.
Like I said before, stuns. The stun mechanic is there, but it can get resisted, and I have seen it get resisted. When we're thinking about, I mean, this is for a very small amount of people. I know that there's not a lot of Guardian 2, Guardian 3 players, but there's a lot of people out there in the G2, G3 ranks that they know that some of the top players out there all have that Tiana. So they're already ruining their monsters looking at those resistance subsets. So that's something to consider, because some of the units that you can stun can potentially counterplay what they're bringing to the arena side. So if you resist that stun, like for an aerial, for example, if you're bringing a bomb team to an aerial attack, and you do the damage and it procs that nemesis that they're rocking, and you resist that stun, Ariel may be able to get that heal off and protect its other units and cut in between your units if it's set up properly here.
Exactly.
One thing that I did want to add on the rune that we were talking about earlier, we were talking about the concept of speed and attack. Because of the fact that Ciara's base HP is pretty nice, and combined with her defense, I think her defense at around 615 is extremely decent for an attacker-based unit out there. This is another candidate here. Thinking about that concept of bombing and stun locking him and whatnot. This is another candidate of considering building in the hybrid fashion so that it cannot get basically KO'd in like one hit. That's kind of the common meta. I know you've seen this center as well, as far as the 25 to 30k CRs with that 170 to like 200 speed range and anywhere from like 900 to 1100 defense. They're really, really tanky CRs, and rightfully so. It's an amazing unit, and you want to keep it alive.
Yeah, yeah. So how do you run yours?
Mine is Violent Focus. I'm in a different kind of situation. I really am a big fan of the Violent Will composition, especially if you know that you may not get the first turn, and whatever defense that you bring, having that will is extremely strong. But because of the fact that I can't get the will on my units to get the right stats, I have to run a focus set to make sure that I get the amount of accuracy that I'm looking for to, I don't want to say guarantee, but make it more likely that I land that bomb. Because like I said, it's the bomb mechanic is strong, but if it resists, it does nothing for you. You literally waste 2 to 3 turns until you get your bombs back.
Yeah.
Yep. At least the good thing that Comtois did, and they don't do this for a lot of units there. They have all these different things when it comes to the kit that you bring. She is one of the few units out there that has a awakening ability of that accuracy to 25% that really goes in line with her kit overall. When we think about, Rakan at the back of the, back in the day, Rakan, everybody used to criticize because it was this,
Yeah.
Damage dealing bruiser, but it awakened into resistance. Or same thing with Leica. Leica also awakened into resistance.
Man.
Didn't make sense, but now when we think about what Rakan can do, how strong that immunity plays a role in kind of locking him down and preventing him from doing, his third skill collapse when the cooldown is down. I mean, it all kind of ties in now. But yeah, I still, for some of those attacker-based monsters or bruisers, I would like to see a different awakening on them. But either way, back on topic here.
Maybe they changed that with the time. We don't know. We hope.
Yeah.
All right, so